What is legal but immoral and ethical? Underage modeling, toddlers in tiaras. Nothing creeps me out more than child beauty pageants, talent shows, spelling bees, plays. Sure, all that's great, but I don't think there should be contests for child beauty. It's just too damn creepy. The best part, no background checks. Record labels, movie, and the modeling industry are filled with pedophiles and creeps who have the decision-making power to make you a star. Child marriage, which is still legal in many states in the USA and many countries across the globe. I want to fact-check this for the US, but I also don't want that in my search history, so you win this round. Looked it up for you. Most states have a general minimum age of 18 for marriage, but there are loads of loopholes and exceptions like parental consent, judicial consent, whether or not the girl is pregnant, etc. The only states where you absolutely must be 18 are Delaware, New Jersey, Minnesota, and Pennsylvania, California, Massachusetts, Michigan, Mississippi, New Mexico, Oklahoma, Rhode Island, Washington State, West Virginia, and Wyoming have no statutory minimum age, and the other states fall between 14 and 17, tying up court cases for years because you can outspend the other party. In most countries, having sexual relationships and children with blood relatives. Healthcare here. The genetics with these things lead to horrible abnormalities. While using recent news, apparently blowing up a 46,000-year-old historical site using outdated 1972 laws that were written in favor of mining corporations during an era where native people were treated like shit. Like it's one thing to use that law to blow up a historical site, but it's another to do so after learning they just discovered it was older than previously thought and contained artifacts. Anyone with a sliver of moral fiber would pause and go, maybe we wait before exploding it. Professional lobbyists. Lobbying is only immoral if it's for a political position you don't agree with. I presume that you don't think that a professional union delegation going to DC to discuss income inequality is immoral. The reality is that lobbyist is really just a word used to describe a broad variety of specialist consultants that advise Congress. Lobbying with money and favors should be illegal. Lobbying with votes like you would with a labor union is different in my opinion. The person in court with the most money buys the best lawyers. Justice only serves the rich. Yes, justice isn't real, it's bought, and only for those who can afford it. Not vaccinating your kids, denying the many other vital services rightfully considered neglect, but apparently not on vaccinating. Gerrymandering, forcing a terminally ill patient who is suffering in constant pain to live the remainder of his days in a hospital bed hooked up to machines and not die with dignity and on their own terms. Swooping in at the last second to steal a parking space from someone. Meat production. I eat meat, by the way. The environment in which the animals are kept is definitely immoral and ethical. But with the constant growing population, this process will realistically only get worse. Televangelists. Putting elderly people in care homes against their will. Greater than putting elderly people in care homes against their will. That one gets rough. If they live long enough they degenerate to a point where they can't tend to their own needs and need around-the-clock supervision. It becomes a home or let him die. Like my granny went that route. We kept her in her house with nurse aides, but at a certain point, it was no longer possible. If one aide called off she'd have no supervision. So it was someone quit job to live there 24/7. Or a home. Definitely agree. And sometimes, even if someone lives with them 24/7, the level of care isn't what it needs to be. My grandpa had Alzheimer's, and since my grandma was retired and in good health, she decided to just take care of him at home. She really didn't want to put him in a nursing home, and he really didn't want to go to one. She cared for him past when she probably should have. But eventually, she had to put him in a home because it was just too much. And she couldn't provide the level of care he needed because she just wasn't trained for it. My other set of grandparents are now getting to that point as well. My grandma has all sorts of health problems. And for the longest time, my grandpa just took care of her. But caring for her has now taken a toll on his health. And he needs care now too. We're trying to put it off as long as possible because they really don't want to go in a home. But their current living situation is really not feasible anymore. And the only person in our family with enough medical training to care for them is already caring for her own husband, who is blind from having several strokes. It's not an ideal situation by any means. But there's only so much any family can do before things need to be taken care of by professionals. More immoral than forcing people without the training and time to care for them full-time to do so. Greater than putting elderly people in care homes against their will. If I live to be old, I can only hope someone does this for me. I do not want to be a burden to my kids. For-profit prisons. Letting my mom do all the household chores while I am just watching her. In some states, gate conversion therapy. Raising prices on medication. It's fucked what I see some cost for basic health care. Cheating on your spouse. Sure, you won't go to jail for it, but you do deserve a swift kick in the dick. Or pussy. If you do it. Hitting your children is legal in most countries, including US if I am not wrong, and very prevalent and accepted in many countries. Doesn't mean that it isn't unethical. Forcing people to declare bankruptcy due to healthcare bills. Constantly spreading disinformation on social media platforms. Payday loans. Man, if I wanted to make a lot of money, that is the way. Only problem is I have to live with myself afterwards. Felonies for non-violent drug crimes. Police killing black people. Police killing anyone. Framing hate speech as freedom of speech. Bullying. Although a lot of elements of bullying are illegal. Recruiting people to join the Church of Scientology. Ticket scalping. Payday loans. The Trump administration. Being a billionaire. MLM. What does that mean? Multi-level marketing, aka pyramid schemes. Hashtag TikTok. Lying. Depends on the context. Lying is illegal in some scenarios. I think. I'm no law expert. It's crime to lie in court, I'm pretty sure. Civil asset forfeiture. Bestiality is legal where I'm from, monsieur. Instead of grocery shopping, just take the first cart you see that is full and the shopper is distracted enough to not see you. Walk away with it. Who would do this? Not just for moral reasons, but also, what if you get a cart of all low-fat crap that you won't even want? Or Vagisil and toddler snacks when you have a wiener and are full-grown? Gambling is gambling. Sitting back and watching someone die even if you could easily intervene and save them, monsieur. Unless you owe the person a special duty of care, there is no legal obligation for you to rescue a random drowning toddler in waist-deep water. Carrot. May not be applicable to all countries. Recording people without their consent in public places. Women's treatment in Middle Eastern countries. That shit makes me feel bad about being a man. Dating an 18-19-year-old when you're much older than that. Putting water cups too close to the edge of the table. Someone who is well above their 30s dating an 18-year-old. Denying vaccines to your children. Not just unethical, it's downright abuse. Wall Street. Taking the tip your friend left for the waiter winking face. That's actually illegal. You're literally stealing money. Death penalty. Existence. Politics. Still being a Trump supporter. Killing people apparently. I just read the news about that cop that knelt on a guy's neck for several minutes until he died. But don't worry, the cop has been fired, so that's just great. When you kill a man and are still free to go about your business. Whatever happened to manslaughter? It's legal to rig elections in America. It's called jerry-rigging, and it's when people manipulate the shapes of all the voting districts to give them the result they want. It's seen not as a problem, but a tradition by all of the people who have this power. They really don't want to stop doing this. Are you talking about gerrymandering? That's illegal. Monsieur, not strictly speaking legal in the US, but still done, and there aren't laws against it? In most places. 100% unethical and truly disgusting. Soaring profits for medicine, healthcare providers. Conservatives, monsieur. TV channels that claim to reveal techniques to win lotteries. Reposts on Reddit. Monopolies. Technically illegal, but there are plenty of them that are well known and don't hear anything from the law about it. Yep, there's one here in my small town and it's fucked up. Leaving the shopping cart in the car park. Being Amy Cooper. Using recreational drugs. Bank account overdraft fees and cash withdrawal fees. Fuck off with these literally pointless costs that do nothing but pay you for usage of a thing society requires me to use. Particularly overdraft and withdrawal fees. How TF is it my fault y'all don't have banks where I'm at? Or that you chose to post a charge instead of declining the card? East ethical surgeries in kids. And I don't mean every of them, monsieur. But if you don't have any problem, you don't need to make a surgery if you are a teenager. I do get what you're saying, but I personally have had one of these surgeries. I had to have a reconstructive chest surgery and skin graft surgeries. This wasn't to make myself more attractive. It was to make myself more comfortable in my body. Though I agree that children should definitely not be getting Botox injections or whatever else comes with it. Bullying, emotional abuse, multi-level marketing, cutting lines. This post being made every 2 to 3 days. Time is irrelevant during this time of crisis. Yearly standardized testing. In some states you can legally kill a transgender person if you have had sex with them and they didn't tell you they were transgender. It's called a gay panic legal defense for monsieur. Only 7 states have banned it. This can also be used if someone of the same gender made a sexual advance on you. This defense can be overruled by a judge if evidence shows that there were no advances or sexual contact. It's also immoral, but not illegal, to not tell someone you are transgender before you sleep with them, monsieur, but I personally think murder, killing the transgender person, is worse than this. TikTok, religion, eminent domain, land acquisition, cheating on an exclusive relationship. The meat dairy industry. Factory farming. Those animals are live creatures with feelings. Just because they're not as intelligent as us doesn't mean we can treat them like garbage. Using emoji on Reddit. Taking the last slice of pizza. Eating animal products. Don't you take my eggs and honey from me. Shooting a Scotsman with a bow and arrow in the middle of Hull. Try it. I think you'll find it's illegal, even if you appeal all the way to the Supreme Court. It's technically legal. Hull, you mean York, right? Carrot, oh my god, what have I done? Oh god, yes I do. Oh, haha, that's alright then. York, fine. Haha, ha. So, anyone wanna buy a bow? That's specifically from the city walls of York. And I believe there are specific days of the week when it applies. Mortician licking a dead body? Q mining. Eating a person with their consent. Modi government. Cooking with celery. Tax avoidance. If your company or wealth is linked to the infrastructure you're operating in, you're a cunt for not reducing contributing back. Redlining. U.S. terrorism all around the world. Paying people minimum wage. Pretty much anything that ends with ism. Abortion. Buying lots of houses and renting them out. This starves the market and make housing unaffordable for people who have jobs and work. The people who contribute to society. Bestiality. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.